Alrighty, well, I warmed it up a little bit just to let it spread out some. I got the stiletto laid in there, and what we're going to try and do is heat it up some more, then start clamping it. So we'll see what kind of weird dance I can do to get this to work. Just going to heat up the tail end of it there. That looks good. Alright. Kind of. Right about there. That looks good. Alright. And we'll just kind of work our way down the length of it, heating it and clamping it. Maybe. Alright. Give it a little more. Admittedly, that's pretty ugly at the moment, but we're gonna fix that. At least that's the story. I just wanted to get it roughly shaped, and we'll go back and refine it. Alright. More heat. There we go. Okay. Well, I'm going to work my way down the length of it, and then we're going to come back and refine the edge, and you'll see what happens after that. We are going to trim it. It's not going to be like looking like that at all. So we'll be back in a little while. Well, what I ended up doing here was, you see I got it smoothed out a little bit better. Left these clamps on like that, heated it up, and I went along with my sheet metal pliers and clamped it down, let it cool, and then moved right up along the edge here. So now it's crude, but we're getting there. So what I need to do next is trim that off flush, and then we'll start heat forming again a little bit, and we'll see where we go. So let me get that trimmed off, and then we'll have more fun with the hot air. Alright, well, after a bunch of trimming and reforming with a little heat and a little die I made here to kind of contain it as I formed it, there it is. It kind of looks like, at this stage, maybe a dried up beef jerky that was left out on the road too long. It's got some wiggles and wobbles in it, but for the most part it fits and it does what it's supposed to do, which is 90% of the battle there. Yeah, it was difficult to get those bends in there by hand, just heating up a little piece and then kind of squeezing it and then trimming it some more. I did want to mention one thing. That's a little diamond cutoff wheel there. It works really well for trimming this stuff. You just have to run it at low speed. It kind of sands and trims at the same time, so that's what I was doing, was getting this gap closer and closer together with using that as a form, and then taking the blade out and then just trimming down there so that the gap was uniform. Took a while to do, but there it is. And the next step is probably going to be covering this with some sort of fake leather. If I had real leather that was thin enough, I'd use it, but fake leather will do just fine. At least it won't mildew. And have to figure out some sort of little hanging arrangement here so that it can either be clipped to a belt or something. So I'll bring you back after I figure out what the heck I'm going to do with the cover on this and the hanger. And hopefully it'll be something halfway creative. So we'll see you in a bit. Well, I may have found the material I need to cover this scabbard. It's thin enough and leather-like. It's just shelf liner. But you know, I can pull on it and I can kind of twist it and try and tear it, and it seems a lot like leather, or thin leather. And the question was, well, so many things don't bond to the Kydex. Will I get a good bond? So I was using some of this CA glue, the super glue, and it seems like it's holding. So we're going to try it and see what happens. I just got it, the first part clamped down to line things up, and we're just going to go a little bit at a time here, right along the seam. And we'll see what we can get away with here. I'll try just a couple of inches at a time. Alright, well, I need a couple more clamps. Alright, let's see what we can do. Well, maybe first thing I can give it a hit with the old sheet metal pliers and then clamp it, just to give it an initial grab. Cover that up. Stuff is supposed to set in 30 seconds, so what we get away with here. Okay. Trying to tuck it in as tightly as I can there. And then press down on it. Wow. Yep. That grabbed. And of course trim it eventually. It wasn't 30 seconds. Yep, there it's coming loose. I guess it was just adhesing to itself. Well, maybe if I just do it like that, it'll be adequate. End up having to trim it anyway, so yeah, that kind of works a little bit better. And it gets it into the crack there. Alright, well, I'll continue on that way and we'll see what we get coming out the other side. Alright, well, I've trimmed the leather covering, faux leather, shelf liner. It seemed to turn out okay. The seam is tight and it fits and stays in there pretty well. But we have some more to do. It's going to put some sort of tip on the end of it there. It's still a little bit sharp. You could get poked accidentally. It wouldn't go through you, but it would hurt. And I need to make a little hanger here for probably a little belt clip of some sort. So we'll see where that goes. Still resembles a little bit like a dried up old meat stick. That's okay. This isn't getting made to win any contests, so it's just got to do the job of holding this in there and holding it tight, which it seems to do, and yet not so tight that you can't get it out, you know. So we'll get to work on making a little pattern for a belt clip, and I'll figure out what to do with the end of it there so that it isn't so pokey. Alright, well, we'll bring you back when the brain cells have rubbed together enough to come up with an idea.